Welcome, one and all, to Castle KOE's Premium Spirits Tour. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, and I decided to let you all in to the deep annals of Castle KOE, and I was going to show you one of the deepest parts of my collection, the future and coming reviews for the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. This is a collection of varying liquors, liqueurs, spirits, and wines that I've collected over the years and more recently. And also, when I reference my bottom, middle, and top shelf, this is what I'm talking about. But there's going to be some changes to come here in the coming days, weeks, months of the Castle KOE and Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. Bottom shelf here. What I have here, just a couple of basic wines. Got a Bellagio, just a really classic Italian table wine. Got this on sale. I also have a Three-Finger Jack that was actually a Christmas present. Cabernet Sauvignon East Side Ridge, Lodi, California, 2016. Great year. I'm looking forward to this. This one I'll probably do with a steak, or we'll do a review of it together. Let me know in the comments. Just a nice Chardonnay, just a basic Chardonnay. I love me some Chardonnays. I'm one of those folks that I don't understand those folks in wine that believe in ABC, anything but Chardonnay. I just bring on the Chardonnay as far as I'm concerned. Marvelous. This one I got for like $11. A Duckhorn Vineyards Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm looking forward to that. I'm saving this for a very special occasion. Now we get into the spirits. A Patron Citronage. Basically, it's an orange liqueur of Patron tequila. I only bought this because I was in a very small liquor store in a not very well-known city in Nebraska. You might have heard of Grand Island. The lady in that store was just so nice, I felt the need to buy this. I was just looking around. I didn't really think I was going to buy anything. But the lady there was so nice that I was like, well, okay, I'll pick this up. Tony's least favorite bourbon of all time, Larceny. I got this on clearance at Walmart one time. This was also a present. 92 proof. I've had it, but it's okay, but it does belong on the bottom shelf. Howard Hooch, Loop River Distillery, unaged corn whiskey from our grain to your glass, 40% alcohol by volume. This comes from Howard County, Nebraska. Let's see, Loop River Distillery, distilled and bottled in St. Paul, Nebraska. As a corn farmer, I got to give this its proper due and its proper shot. So, as you can see, this one has been tried. A lot better than I expected, but we'll do an official review of this in its due time. Moving on down to the end of my bottom shelf here, what we have is basically my contribution to the Jack Daniels run we're going to be doing soon. We have Single Barrel Select, a 50 milliliter bottle of Gentleman's Jack, a 50 milliliter bottle of Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey, and Tennessee Fire. Interesting. I'm looking forward to, well, okay, the honey will be good. The fire, I've never really been into spiced whiskeys. Never been my personal forte, if you will. Jack Daniels Tennessee Rye, because I'm a much bigger fan of rye whiskeys than anything else. And also Jack Daniels Winter Jack Tennessee Cider. We'll see how this one goes. It's 15% alcohol by volume. I predict this one's either going to be incredibly good or incredibly bad. I don't know which one. There's not going to be a, it's okay. I'm predicting I'm either going to love this or hate this. We'll see what happens. But I will say the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select, as you can see, has been enjoyed by several friends. This has been my well whiskey. If somebody asks, just whiskey water or whiskey on the whiskey on the rocks or whiskey and Coke. Usually it's this. I've got no complaints. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select Tennessee Whiskey, 47% alcohol by volume, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Strangely enough, as I've heard, there's some sort of regulation that prevents you from just buying a bottle of Jack Daniel's right there at the distillery. There's some sort of local regulation, but that, you know, every place is different. We move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the middle shelf. Now, the middle shelf has a lot of things that haven't been tried yet. I think that's fair. If it hasn't been tried, it'll sit in the middle until such a point that we can give it its honest review and its honest justice. Starting right here next to me, we've got 4 lovely bottles of Glenmorangie, or I think it's Glenmorangie. Just these nice little 100 milliliter bottles, which are really neat. I love these smaller bottles. It lets you try different things. We've got the aged 10 year, which I'm looking forward to that. We've got the sherry cask finish from Lastewia, 12 year. Again, another Lastewia, which is actually just like the Redbreast review we did. Lastewia right there. Here's a Lastewia aged Scotch. I should have mentioned that. These are all single malt Scotches, which is, oh my. This is the one I'm really looking forward to. 12-year port cask finished. This one, I don't know why. I just got a feeling I'm going to like that one. Then we've got the Nectar d'Or Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. Aged 12 years, all of them except for one, aged 12 years. I'm still looking forward to, I got a feeling none of those are going to be bad. A reviewed and well-respected Kamiki Japanese maltage. This is what we reviewed for, I believe it was the second night of Wrestle Kingdom. We had a fine toast to Jushin Thunder Liger with this whiskey, so it'll always hold a very special place for us. This is finished in cedar casks, which gives it kind of more of a minty, piney, don't know how to explain it, but interesting. I got 2 brothers. One brother really likes it. One brother, not a fan. Chivas Regal, I'll get into a very popular Scotch. I just found out Chivas Regal was the favorite go-to Scotch of my grandfather, my fraternal grandfather. So I'm looking forward to doing a real deep dive omnibus into Chivas Regal, the blended Scotch. This is their standard 12. You know, you can find this just about anywhere. I'm sure we've all seen it. There's the Chivas Extra, also finished in Oloroso sherry cask, so pretty much the same sherry. I mean, I'm thinking I need to review some Spanish sherry, is what this is all telling me, folks. So let me know in the comments. Then the reason I got this whole little 3-pack, Chivas Regal 18 Gold Series. Oh, this is going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. 40% alcohol by volume, aged 18 years, blended Scotch. If it wasn't for the fact that these are really expensive, I'd probably have a standalone bottle of this. But stay tuned. Keep your eye on this space if you're a big fan of Chivas Regal. I've got these 2 bottles of Canadian Club. Small batch blended. 12-year age. Not bad. Not bad. Had better, had worse. Will say out of the 2, I give this one higher marks. This is definitely worth the money. The 100% rye, very good, sweet. I'd say worth the time, and that's why it sits on the middle shelf here. This one will probably go into my well. It's an okay whiskey, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be a well whiskey from here on out. If anybody asks for a whiskey, they're going to get Canadian Club for a while. So, the middle shelf, mostly because it won't fit in the bottom shelf. Good Life Gin, Loop River Distilling. Say that 3 times fast. Good Life Gin, from our grain to your glass. 40% alcohol by volume. It's mostly corn. I'm assuming it's all corn. I was under the impression that gin was made with juniper berries. I don't know what, Now, there's grain gins and such, but I'm assuming that's why they call it Good Life Gin. So we'll compare this to other gins in good time, but you know, their Howard Hooch, I had very low expectations, way exceeded them. So I'm hoping this does the same. We'll see. Another reviewed Haku Vodkas from Suntory Distillery. This is the only vodka distilled in Japan, so I suppose in terms of Japanese vodka, it's 5 stars, right? But 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, distilled from 100% Japanese rice bamboo charcoal filtration, which I've got no complaints about this vodka. As you can see, I've let a lot of people try this, and it's been popular. Now, vodka is a generally popular spirit, and this is the only bottle of vodka that I have open at the moment, so that does make sense. It is one of the more universally well-known spirits. The only one I have open at the moment, strangely enough, is a Japanese vodka. The other vodka that I have not yet opened is a bottle of Dan Aykroyd's Madness Distilled into a Bottle Crystal Skull Vodka. Now, as a corn farmer, the thing that fascinates me about this is it's made from all sweet corn. Then it's quadruple distilled, and then for no discernible reason whatsoever, Dan Aykroyd distills it over billion-year-old diamonds. What? When I heard that, I was like, yes, I'm getting a bottle of this, and as much as I'd say this strange little bottle was kind of the impetus to me starting a collection. It was this strange little bottle, so I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be good. Crystal Head Vodka, 750 milliliter, product of Canada. Also, definitely the bottle will be recycled into something neat. I don't know what, but something. 5 different Scotch single malts. I got them from a classic malts selection gift pack that I found when I was doing Christmas shopping. And this one's the Coastal Collection, and the other one's a Standard Collection. Both of them came with a bottle of Talisker 10-year. Kalila, aged 12 years as a single malt. This is a Coastal malt. This is an Isla single malt. Oh my goodness. This will be good. A Talisker 10-year. I've had a bottle of this, a 200 milliliter bottle. Marvelous Scotch. I had no problem with it. A little more grainy, but good stuff. Killinish 14, and ladies and gentlemen, all of my vast fans in Scotland, I do apologize for butchering these names. I'm going to be butchering names all over this liquor cabinet. Killinish 14 years single malt Scotch whiskey. This will be another marvelous one. The Cragmore 12-year. I love these small bottles because it allows you to explore a lot more different types of whatever spirit you're experiencing. You're trying to experience, rather. So Cragmore 12-year-old Speyside single malt Scotch. So yeah, you're getting a lot of, there's a Highland, there's a Speyside, there's an Isle, and then the one that I'm really looking forward to, Lagavulin 16-year. The fact that I was able to get a 200 milliliter bottle of this for as cheap as I did, I am quite happy with this. So this will be probably the bottle that I helped Tony christen his non-sobriety when when March comes in. Which, by the way, Tony, good luck to you, sir. You're doing quite well. Whistlepig Farm Stock Rye. Love this whiskey. It's just a little pricey. That's why it's on my middle shelf mostly, but I love Whistlepig Farm Stock Rye. I mean, this is I would recommend batch number 3 even. I know some people flip out about the older batches, but batch number 3, in my opine, it's where it's at, folks. So Whistlepig, they're 10-year. We'll get into that here in a minute as well. Bushmills Black Bush. middle shelf constant. This is the sherry cask finished one. Anything sherry cask, as you can tell, I'm gonna like. But so this Bushmills Black is here. The Bushmills White is sitting at the farmyard for those late nights when you're turning wrenches. And then the Bushmills Red got sacrificed to a Bob Vila project for my brother. Constant on the middle shelf. And then last, middle shelf, this Hampton Trelawney single Jamaican rum overproof. If done right, it can be happiness in a bottle. If done wrong, it can be headaches and sorrow in a bottle. That's what I'll say. As you can see, it's about half drank. I've been giving people shots of this to see, what. Yeah, let me feel the fiber of your fabric. What do you got here? Can you take a shot of this? Yeah, 60% alcohol by volume, 120 proof. Spring water, natural yeast, 100% pot still, tropical aging. If you're into overproof rum, this is pretty good stuff. Very traditional. I feel like I'm drinking a rum from 1647. Like, I don't know how else to put that. I know some will be like, all right, that's probably a little too far back, but like 1722. But this is an interesting historical way of looking at rum. And so, yeah, I'd recommend if you can get a bottle of this. If I were to come across again, I don't know if I'd go for the overproof. I might just stick with the standard proof. To finish out this little tour of my liquor cabinet, what we have here is the Johnnie Walker line, basically. We have Johnnie Walker Red, Johnnie Walker Black, a tiny 50 milliliter bottle of Johnnie Walker Double Black. Interesting technology behind this, actually. We have Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve. And then this one was a fun get for me. Johnnie Walker Aged 18. Johnnie Walker Platinum Label Aged 18. They say these are the exact same recipe. Well, guess what? KOE Nation, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast listeners, I think you and I will be the judge of that. So very soon we'll be getting into this. And also, Germs has the green label bottle for the 15-year, 15 different single malt scotches blended into one marvelous blend. As they say, last but certainly not least, the grandest of them all, Johnnie Walker Blue Label. Yep, I'm looking forward to this one. I have, full disclosure, had some Johnnie Walker Blue before. Marvelous. So, it sits on the middle shelf because none of them have been opened. None of them have been graded. I think I know where Johnnie Walker Blue's probably going to sit. Call me crazy, but I will wait until we get into the proper reviewing time. Now, the contents of the top shelf. This is where you get into not only the top shelf alcohols, but also things that are sentimental to me. For example, I'm going to show this off. I don't care. This is a picture my daughter drew of me back when I had my long hair in a golden tractor flying over a cornfield. And it says, "Best daddy ever." Yep. I mean, I am the best daddy ever. I mean, I get it, but oh yeah, that's more prize than anything else, than even the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast Championship. This is more prized. I know. Hard to believe. And this was also a little unicorn she painted when she was little. That's awesome. And also when she was 2 years old for Halloween, she was a cowgirl princess. A tooth she lost when she was a little girl. And then probably the funniest of them all, when she was 5, she decided she wanted bangs. So she just cut one piece of bang off and just had like a little Milo flop of hair going up. And I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life, and I knew I'd laugh about this someday. I kept it. I think that's funny. Moving on, this was a crucifix that was in my grandmother's house. She was Roman Catholic, as you can probably tell, and I just remember this hanging in her house for years when I was a kid, and so it sits here. These are both from my fraternal grandmother. She was very religious in her own way. This is a breastplate of the 12 tribes of Israel, with the English translations of what they all mean. She was just fascinated by stuff like this. And this is just a clock she gave me shortly before passing. So here it sits in prominence, top shelf. Because my grandmas, they were both top shelf ladies. They're both top shelf people. So that's where they sit. This here, interesting item here. This is a 50th anniversary American Legion decanter for commemorative bottling by J.W. Dant, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 10 years old. I've looked it up. J.W. Dant is still in business to this day. All I have to do to restore this is redo the cork. As you can see, the cork needs a little bit of work to restore it, but other than that, it's good to go. I even did a little bit of cleaning on the inside. It looks like I could, basically I leave some not so good vodka in here for a week or two, shake it up, pour it out, and it's food safe. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to restoring this, and I'll probably put J.W. Dant in it. But this is my grandfather's. He was a World War II veteran. He was actually awarded a Purple Heart from the Battle of the Bulge. So just anything from my grandfather's I do cherish. He was, again, one heck of a guy. Interesting guy. I didn't really know much about that element of his life. He was just, big jolly guy like Santa Claus as far as I was concerned, but there's a whole other chapter to that young man's life when he was a younger man. But this one I'm looking forward to restoring because it's just neat. It's a 50th anniversary for the American Legion, and the distillery's still open, so you know what to put in it. So that's why this is in the top shelf. These were possessions of my parents and my grandmother. My grandmother had some relations in New Mexico. Some of them, family stories. Who knows? But so those are possessions of my grandmother and my mother. This was first time hunting ever when I was a teenager. First deer ever. This was the bell all of my brothers and I used when we were sick, when we were little. When we were really sick, when we'd ring this bell, Mom would come. This bell, I don't know what the origin is. I'm gonna have to ask my mom. But well, now I can reference the video, like just this little bell here. There you go. But I want to say this is one of my grandparents. But candle from my baptism. Last but certainly not least, the main event, the reason you're here, the reason for the season. Top shelf liquors of the Castle KOE. I haven't tried this bourbon yet, TX bourbon. Tony and I had TX whiskey, and I think we're going to need to do another take of that, get another bottle up here, because that was too good. Like, I'm thinking maybe because we were so happy about the fact that we were in Texas for the Royal Rumble, that it might have warped our perception of how good I'm trying to figure out why was that whiskey so good. TX straight bourbon whiskey, if this is even half as good as the whiskey that we had in Texas, this is going to be a top shelf bourbon. I can already tell you that. So I'm really looking forward to giving this one a good stout shot, because this is Texas TX straight bourbon, has no artificial colorings, has 51% corn at least. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. Whistle Pig 10-year rye, straight rye whiskey, 100 proof. I'm really impressed with Whistle Pig, not just the company's story, but the product they put out. And Tony, he gives marks against the bottle, I give marks for the bottle. How many bottles are made by a whiskey company that are actually made to be used by a human hand? Yeah, think about that one for a minute. I've always been warned, my mother always warned me, be careful about a bottle with a story, because it might just be that, a bottle with a story. But when you nose and taste this stuff, that ain't the case. I'd recommend it. Weirdly enough, the 10-year rye and the farm stock rye are the same price. As you'll note, fans, I have here what I like to refer to as Cognac Corner. I am a lover of cognac. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. This is one that I've been working on for some time, Courvoisier Limited Edition Sherry Cask Edition. Batch number 6. This one has a very strange coffee aroma. Like here, give it a smell. I thought this was going to give a completely different flavor profile than what it gave me. If you like coffee, you like Irish coffees, or anything along those lines, Courvoisier Sherry Cask Edition. This isn't my favorite Courvoisier I've ever had, but I've noticed, put this just on the rocks. I know, but just one ice cube, that's it. Just water it down just a little bit. This is great for putting me to bed. Like if I'm not able to sleep for whatever reason, 25 milliliters of this on the rocks, I'm out within 40 minutes. So something to keep in mind. Courvoisier VS, very special cognac. This I picked up. A liquor store was downsizing because the restaurant that the same guy owned next door was doing way better. So he's downsizing the liquor store to make more room for his restaurant. So I got this bottle of cognac for $15. Yeah, I'm jumping all over that deal. I love Courvoisier. I haven't had a bad bottle of it. My favorite bottle of cognac of all time is the Courvoisier Eiffel Tower Centennial Edition. I've only found one bottle of that in all my life, and I wish I could find more. But so Courvoisier VS, a battle of the VSOPs, Courvoisier VSOP Cognac, and Hennessy VSOP Privilege Cognac. Oh God, this is gonna be a good one. Both 375 milliliters. Again, I like these smaller bottles. They're better to recycle. They're cheaper. Allows you to cover a lot more spirits under the with the same money, basically. And here's another bottle that's just made for the human hand. I like it. But Hennessy, never had a bad bottle of cognac out of you folks. Courvoisier, this is going to be a head-to-head, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, folks. The main event, folks. The top middle. The Ron Zacapa 23-year, some of the rum, not all of it. This is a blended rum. 23-year is the oldest aged rum. It's from virgin sugarcane aged in high altitude in oak barrels. Now what's interesting is this little weave here is from villages of folks descended from the Mayans, and this is the Mayan symbol for peace and harmony with time and space. So interesting stuff. It's all made at high altitude at about 67 degrees. So they even recommend you drink it at 67 degrees. I'm looking forward to getting to this one. I've heard this is a great premium rum, and I got it for a steal on sale for $30. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. One of the reasons I like recycling these bottles is because you can save little bits. This is the last little bit of a bottle of Crown Royal XR. Good stuff. You've seen us review it. You've seen us use it for toasts, for somber occasions. I have the bottle right there that just as soon as I can secure more Crown Peach, that'll be my decanter for it. But yeah, this Crown XR, my last little 50 some odd milliliters. Don't know when I'll drink it. Don't know what. I just like the idea of having these small bottles. I also have a couple more down here of just like, for example, Here's a small bottle of Famous Grouse Scotch. Just so in case somebody comes over and like, oh yeah, you've never had that? Well, here, let's just try just a little bit of Famous Grouse so you can say you've tried it. I think that's what I'm doing with this Crown Royal XR, and also so I can say, yes, within Castle KOE, within the grounds of my grand estate, I do in fact have a bottle of Crown Royal XR. This is a bottle of Crown Royal Reserve. I have had this bottle for well over 7 years now, and I just never broke into it, never drank it. The reason I kept this bottle, very silly. I actually saw in a Vice News report that if there's a nuclear disaster of some kind, like a bomb goes off, nuclear bomb, and you didn't die from it, if you drink alcohol, the radiation ions will bond to the alcohol ions and sweep out of your system in your urine. So I was thinking, well, we do have a big old nuclear reactor right over that away that almost went up a couple years ago. I'm sure you remember. Maybe keep a bottle of alcohol on hand. And this was just what I figured, if you're gonna, fallout apocalypse, do it right. I mean, if you're gonna drink to your health in post-nuclear fallout, do it with a little class, I suppose. But yeah, I've never broken into this. I don't know if I ever will. It's just been here for years, and I suspect it will stay there. Second to last, Del Maguey Single Village Mezcal. This one, I got this because I cannot get this anywhere in Nebraska. I had to be in Texas to get it. There's going to be no other way. This is very expensive. It's 100% Tobala. Tobala is the rarest of agave. It takes 8 Tobala agave to equal 1 standard agave core, and Tobala can only be grown at high altitudes in cool temperatures in the shade, which is not that easy to come by in Mexico. So this is one I'm really looking forward to. 45% alcohol by volume. Really a connoisseur's drink. And just as a note, I'm just glad, no, there is no stupid worm in here, okay? That's a gimmick as far as I'm concerned with things like mezcals or like certain whiskeys in like Thailand and certain areas of the world, like they put like scorpions and snakes in their whiskeys. That's a gimmick. If you've got some dead thing in the bottom of your bottle, that's to, in my opinion, gimmick it up to hide the lack of quality. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a great mezcal out there with the worm in the bottom. I just think it's a gimmick. And then last but certainly not least, this one I don't know what I'm going to get into. Crown Royal Noble Collection 13-year-old Blender's Mash. I don't even know what to say. I know this is going to be good. Crown Royal spirit has been one that my family uses for moments of joviality and happiness, for moments of sorrow. Crown Royal has been our go-to. And this 13-year Blender's Mash is a real interesting treat. It's basically front and center in the absence of me having Crown XR, because that is always a top shelf offering for me. I don't know when I'm going to get into this, but when I do, you can bet your ass it's going to be right here on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. As I've been known to say, folks, all that being said, folks, thank you for joining me on this weird, wacky, wild tour of all the world of Phil into the deepest, darkest annals of the vaults of Castle KOE, so I could show you just a little preview of what's coming up in the coming days, weeks, months for Spirits Reviews. There might come a day where we do some re-ups to add some more cast members, but this is what you can expect for sure. So folks, thank you for joining me. This has also been an interesting little trip down memory lane for me as well. I thank you for joining me. And I will be catching you all in the future. Like, share, subscribe. Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. KOE Nation, you know what to do. Comments, comments, comments. Folks,